With home values coming down, a lot of people have been asking, is this the right time to upgrade a home? And my answer is always the same. You're asking the wrong question, because upgrading a home is not about the timing. It's about two things. One is emotional and the other is mathematical. That's exactly what today's video is all about. So let's get started. My mission is simple: to help 1 million immigrants retire with $5 million. Whether it's investing, real estate, tax strategies, or smart money moves, every video on this channel is designed to help you build wealth step by step. If you want to be part of that 1 million, subscribe to the channel and let's grow together. Now, before I get into the reasons for upgrading, emotional and mathematical, I want to show you the kind of deals that we send in our value deals group right now. It's not a plug to, for you to get into the value deals group. If you don't want to, that's fine. But I want you to go through the deals that are there, available on the market. And the best way to do that, I was thinking was, to go through the value deals group. So if you look at this semi-detached in Box Grove, Markham, it's a really good neighborhood. It has a 2-bed basement listed for $899. Even if we get this for about $975, that was the fair market value that my team did on this one. Looking at the comparables, after you take the rent from basement, you can actually live in this neighborhood for under $3,000 of net cash, of net expenses every single month. If I go to the next one, this is a detached bungalow. If you are someone who, and this is only the deals that we have sent in August, right? So this is the Glens in Oshawa, again, fully renovated, rentable basement, 600 plus cash flow coming, 2+1, 4 bath. Again, it has an in-law suite. There's a income potential there as well. Assumed purchase price is $800,000. So it's a really good neighborhood with a fully finished basement. $800,000 is amazing. Again, this is in Oakville, 1.2 million. That's what it sold in 2022. That's immaterial right now, but it's listed for $799. Even if we, say that it's gonna sell at about $850, $860. If you see the numbers, and again, this is something which has, like a finished basement. I'm assuming it has a finished basement. No, it does not have a finished basement. But again, in Oakville, something for $860,000 or 1,500 square feet. Now, if you know Oakville, it's a very expensive neighborhood. That's the kind of deal which is under market value. This is again August 14th. Markham semi-detached. It has school rating of 7.4. It has estimated rent from basement. Again, a fully finished basement, legal basement, and the numbers are amazing on this. This is in Markham, guys. Like, this is crazy. Mississauga condo, let's just forget that. This was a really good deal. Milton Buyers, again, another amazing deal in Milton with a fully finished basement. This is in Pickering, so it's like cash flow. Like, I'm not asking you to buy an investment property right now, but option one is you live upstairs, rent downstairs. Again, in a place like Pickering, even if you don't get the rent, you're just getting something at a really fraction of the price. That's how we break down numbers. This is in London. We have more deals in. This one is in Brampton, I think, or this is also in Oakville. This one is in Ajax. There's so many amazing deals that are available right now to buy. And these deals are not even the best deals that are available in the market, because our realtors, there are 15 plus realtors, my partner realtors, I have trained them to analyze these deals before they put in the value deals group. But before doing that, they actually send it to their clients, and only if their clients are not interested in that deal because of any number of reasons, then we put that into value deals. So all these, deals are not even something which is at the top of the line when we share. We have to first share it with our clients, and only if they say no, we actually share it here. The reason why I'm telling you this is, yes, there are amazing deals available. Many of them are under distress right now. Therefore, you can actually get it way under market value. I've seen things go $100,000 under the market value, depending on who you are buying it from. So yes, deals exist in the market, but should you take them? And the answer, you might not like it, but it depends. And it depends on two things. Like I said, the first one is need versus want. We need to segregate our emotions from numbers. This is a more emotional thing, where if you are comfortable where you live, upgrading just because the price looks good is just not good enough. So I had a client who came to me last year. They bought an amazing duplex in Kitchener. They are getting $1,900 rent from the basement. It's a really nice, walkout basement. And their overall expenses for that house after they take out money from the basement is about $2,000, $2,100. This is all inclusive property taxes. That's what, like a basement does to you. And they came to me saying that, this year I'm seeing really good opportunities closer to Toronto, and we actually go to work once a week. So we are thinking that we put this on rent and we actually buy there, because there are some amazing deals at a really good price available right now in the market. And my answer to them was no. And I was very clear in that, because they did not have an inherent need of upgrading or going closer to the city. And even if they have an inherent need, because they are going now instead of 1 day a week to 3 days a week, it's much better to rent. It's much better to rent closer to the city, because they can put this house on rent. They'll be almost cash flow neutral, or maybe even cash flow positive. They will have the headache of the tenants. I'll talk about that later in the video. However, it does not make sense if you're comfortable living in your home to upgrade right now, just because homes closer to the city are cheaper. A real need is your kids are starting school and you want them in a better district. A real need is your family is growing and you're running out of space. A real need is your elderly parents moving in and you need accessibility. That's a real need to buy a home or to upgrade a home. Now, I'll give you my personal example of why we upgraded from a townhouse to a detached home. That's our forever home. We did that last year from June to September. We sold and bought our forever home. We sold our townhouse. And the reason why we did that was that Aryan was on the way. So we were expecting a child, and we wanted to go into a better school district, and we wanted some longevity. Obviously, the child doesn't come and go to school immediately, but we wanted to live in a home for like 10, 20 years, maybe for life. We were not very clear on that. Now, having lived in the home for 1 year, we can say that we can live in it for life. Who knows? But we wanted some longevity so that we don't just keep moving. So that's the reason why we wanted to upgrade. Plus, we have a family room, like a parents' room on the ground floor, and my parents live with me almost the entire year. And I was like, okay, that's another, good advantage of upgrading. So, there was an actual need. We were running out of space. We are the eldest in the family. We have a lot of gatherings, and a townhouse living rooms, as you know, are slightly smaller. And mathematics aside, the affordability aside, we'll talk about that in a bit, we had an actual need of upgrading into a bigger home. Now that we understand the emotional side of it, where we should upgrade only if we need to upgrade, let's talk about the maths, because that's also important, because that would tell us how do we need to do it, how much money is required, how much does it take to sustain that home. I don't want to spill the beans, because I'll be showing you an entire Excel I created. I'll link that in the description as well. That's the Excel that I used to make that decision for ourselves as well. But can we afford the upfront cost of upgrade? That's the first thing that we need to answer. And the second one is, can you sustain the lifestyle inflation that this upgrade comes with? Because it does not just mean that you are increasing the amount of mortgage that you have to pay. It also means your mortgage payment is increasing, your property taxes are increasing, your maintenance is increasing, because with a bigger home comes larger maintenance. And all that also needs to be accounted for when you are upgrading a home. So let me explain to you with an example of how to think about, when you are upgrading a home. This is almost my example, not exactly my example, but I'll still, we purchased the home for about 655. These numbers are not exact, but, let's assume that someone is purchasing the home for $650,000. So put that number, $650,000 here. If that's your number, whatever your number is, you can put it here. Anything which is in this pinkish color, mauve color, you can actually change. You should actually change. Then outstanding balance, just check your mortgage statement to see how much of your mortgage is remaining on this particular home. Expected sales price, your realtor can give it to you, or you can just know from the area and the recent sales that have happened in the area. You can go to House Sigma and see that. Let's assume that this particular home sells for $800,000. Cost of sales, always take 5% inclusive of HST. So realtor fees, lawyer fees, everything is it has HST on top. People miss that. So I take 5%. Some realtors charge lower, which is completely fine. But still, I would take 1%, because the buyer side realtor will take the 2.5%. So that will come on you when you are selling the home. So I, just to be safe, take 5% inclusive of HST, 5% of the sale price, right? So that's what I take as my cost of sale. Then the mortgage prepayment penalty, if you are prepaying the mortgage early, if you had a 5-year term, you are breaking it in 2 years for any reasons, right? You can port the mortgage as well. That's a topic for another discussion. Or if you book a call, we can actually help you do that as well. But yeah, you can port the mortgage, but porting also involves you to make the transaction on the same day in most cases, right? So it gets very complicated. So always check with your current lender on if you break the mortgage to change lenders and get a whole new mortgage for the new new home, what will the penalty that you paid? We paid about $8,000 of penalty, and overall net proceeds, let's say in this particular example, are $232,000. That's the amount of money that you will have in your bank account. That's not your profit, right? You actually put in a lot of cost into this home. So I don't look at profitability here at all. This is not profit. This is just the amount of money that will hit your bank account. And you can do your profit math if you want to. The new home, let's assume that I bought it for $1.2 million, the home that we are in right now. So let's say we buy it for $1.2 million. Right now, you can actually do a less than 20% down on this if you qualify. That's a big caveat if you qualify. But the minimum down payment requirement is about $95,000. So you don't have to do a 20% down right now. So let's say you are doing a down payment of the minimum, $95,000. We did a 20% because at that time this rule was not there. The closing cost, the land transfer taxes, the lawyer fees, all that would cost about 3% of your mortgage amount. So whatever that is, let's say this is $33,000. That's your closing cost that is on top of your down payment. So your cost of this purchase upfront will be about $128,000. Total funds needed $128,000. Net proceeds from sale is $232,000. So that basically means that you can actually make a profit if you qualify for a minimum down payment of about $100,000, and that $100,000 can either go into the renovations of your forever home, or it can go into furniture, or it can go into moving costs, or it can anything miscellaneous. Like all these costs are something that people miss. I would encourage you to put these as well when you're thinking of upgrading, because there will be something or the other that you'll have to get it done to make it your own. And I would, furniture is the most basic thing that people miss, because when you move from a 2-bedroom to a 4-bedroom, it requires more furniture. It's just natural. When you move from a smaller place to a bigger place, you require a bigger dining table. You require a bigger sofa, a bigger TV, right? So like all these are just natural purchases that you will make, even if you are being very conservative in your purchases, right? And this will give you a shortfall after these purchases. So you got $232,000 in your bank account. After doing the down payment, the minimum down payment plus your closing cost, you were left with $100,000. You spent another $36,000, and you are left with $67,000 that you can do whatever with, or you can put that in the down payment and increase the down payment. That's another option. So that's what you will get when you are, that's what you will understand when you do this exercise, whether you can actually afford this or not. Sometimes, like you purchased really high. Let's say you purchased for $750,000, and you purchased for $750,000, and your outstanding mortgage is about $700,000, and therefore you are just making net proceeds of $52,000. And even if you buy a $1.2 million home, even if you do the minimum down payment, you'll be like off $76,000, and that's without taking all of these expenses into consideration. So like you would need $76,000 to put from your pocket in order to make this purchase. So clearly we can't afford this particular home of $1.2 million if you don't have the $76,000 additional. So like I said, like all these calculations always need to be done when you are upgrading. That's what, that's how you'll know whether you can do it or not. We actually do it for all our clients, but you can do it on your own by downloading this calculator. Now, the other calculation that people miss is your the monthly cost that will increase. And it's not just the mortgage payment, but everything that comes with it. So I have done this math here. Let's assume that your current outstanding balance was $520,000. The currently where you're living, that's what you are, but that's not the important number. We are talking about monthly expenses. Current mortgage payment, let's just assume it's $3,100. $300 is the current property tax. You're not paying a condo fee, and your maintenance, I've taken 0.5% of your home value. So in this case, it's $271 per month. So I take 0.5% of your home value as your yearly maintenance. It could be roof changes, it could be anything, but it's amortized over, let's say roof change only happens once in 15 years, right? But I'm amortizing all the costs, plumbing issues, whatever it is, into this. It's very conservative. I would actually take a little bit higher, 0.8%, even 1% in some situations, especially if you're buying old homes or if you're living in one. But yeah, let's take 0.5% for this calculation. Total mortgage expenses on a monthly basis will be about 3,671. That's what you need to put together. Keep aside for your mortgage. And the net carry home household income, now this can be different from different people, but let's assume this particular couple, whoever this case is for, their net carry home income after taxes that hits their bank account is $13,000. That basically means that their overall mortgage expenses are 28% of their net household income, and they are very comfortably living in the home. Now, I'm not including utilities here because utilities will be there irrespective of whether you are renting, buying bigger homes, slightly higher utilities there. But I'm not taking utilities just because I don't think utilities move a lot. And it also depends on the areas that you're moving, right? Like when we were living in Cambridge, our utilities were somehow a little bit higher for a townhouse than the utilities that we are paying now in Kitchener. So it just depends on where you are as well. So I'm not taking that, just to keep it simple. The new home that we are buying, the mortgage that we have taken on a minimum down payment on a $1.2 million house is 1,149,200. Let's assume that's the number. That's not my number. Again, I did a 20% down payment. So these are not my numbers exactly. But a mortgage payment at a 30-year amortization, 4% interest rate will be 5,486. $550 is the property tax. Let's assume for this particular home, there's no condo fee. I've taken a 0.5% maintenance again, so $500 of the purchase price. So that's 6,000. So $1.2 million multiplied by 0.5%, that's $6,000 per year. Divide by 12, that comes to $500 per month. Total mortgage expenses are 6,536. So if you add them all up, and if you are still making the $13,000 that you are making when you were living in a smaller home, the home that you're living in right now, now your percentage expenses of the the house related expenses to your income will be 50%. Can you afford that? That's the question that we need to ask. If we can't afford that, and if these are the numbers, can we improve the down payment to 20%? Because if we do that, suddenly the numbers would look a lot better. Yes, you'll have to pay $36,000 from your pocket. That basically means that you need to save that amount to be able to close this home. So closing costs, almost, that amount comes extra. And you have to, again, put from your pocket the cost of furniture, moving, like upfront repairs or whatever. But that would also mean that your sustainability becomes a lot more easier, because in this particular situation, you are looking at 43% of your income going towards mortgage, which is a lot better. I always feel that it should be less than 40%. Or in this case, you can actually reduce the amount of house that you're buying to $1 million. You pay the 20% down payment. That's what I would do if I were this couple. That would put me in the positive overall if I sell this particular home and buy this, and then I can put something from my pocket to buy the furniture, or take some time. And now doing all of this calculation again, the property taxes could be let's assume it's the same, right? And now you'll see that your percentage, the total mortgage expenses are 37% of your income. I would link this in the description. I would encourage you to use this calculator if you are thinking to upgrade a home. And even if you sell, and again, like one of the other conversations that we had, me and Simran, was that what if we wait for another year to do it? And then we ran the calculations again, and we were like, okay, you know what? Let's do that. Let's assume that we pay off the mortgage another $15,000 at that time. So our outstanding balance is, let's say, $505,000. Our expected sale price, because the market is actually going down, we were like, okay, you know what? Maybe we'll not be able to sell it for the same price. So let's say we sell it for not 7.8, but $780,000. We'll make the net proceeds of 228, but we'll also probably be buying a home for $1.1 million, because the same home, and I don't know why I'm screwing up the zeros, the same home that is available for 1.2 is probably 1.1. At that time, we'll have to make a little bit lower down payment, and we'll still have a shortfall of $18,000, because that's the thing, right? Because when you sell at a lower price, you buy at a lower price. If you sell at a higher price, you buy at a higher price. What matters is the spread. It does not matter if you are already a homeowner. It does not matter whether you are upgrading in a low market or a high market, because the spread will almost be the same. Now, some of the other mistakes that I see a lot of people who are thinking of upgrading make in this particular market is the first one, buying the second without selling the first home, which is exactly the case with my client who came to me, buying closer to the city. I don't recommend that, because first of all, do you want to be a landlord? Do you want to deal with the cash flow negative? That puts, more pressure on your finances. That also means that you are not taking out the equity from your home, and, you're not using it towards your next purchase. So that actually puts pressure on your overall cash upfront, which is required. Then you have to deal with the Landlord-Tenant Board that sucks in Ontario. Unless you absolutely cannot sell your current home and you really need to upgrade, only then, and you should have the financial means, only then maybe you can look to do that, but know that there will be risks, and you will be a landlord, and that's not easy. There will be financial burden as well, unless you have a shitload of money and you make a shitload of money, because you're taking the cash flow negative from the first home in most cases, and you are adding on your mortgage for the bigger home into your expenses. So all that maths needs to be done definitely needs to be done before you think, or if it doesn't make sense, just rent. That's what we did. We were living in a condo in Kitchener. We bought that condo, and our parents came earlier than we had planned for, and we moved into a bigger townhouse for 1 year, and then we moved into our own townhouse in Kitchener, and that's how we did it, right? So like that just makes a lot of sense. So yeah, like do the numbers, do the math. Don't just get carried away by emotion. Don't just buy because it's cheaper. It's just important for you to do the maths. Then there's a second mistake that happens, which is buying the new home before selling the current. Now, this is something that I should not even be mentioning, but in today's market, I don't understand why people are still trying to buy first and then sell. Like this week, I think it was this week or late last week, I got a call from a person, like a random person. Met him on Instagram. He wanted to chat because he was stuck in something, and they had bought a home first, and then they were trying to sell their condo, and it's such a difficult market to sell a condo, and now they're stuck with two homes because the condo is not selling. They don't have enough for down payment. They don't make enough money to afford the mortgage for the second home. It's a complete mess. I don't know what's going to happen with this client, but it's messy. Why get into that mess? Just sell the home first, know how much money is coming in, and then buy your home. Just make sure that the strategy is such that you are protected at all ends. Which gets me into the third mistake, which is don't cheap out on the team. Because a bad team would give you strategies that will be bad. Just like the one that called me late last week of selling first or buying first and selling later. It's bad strategy. And this is not a joke. This is a very serious two transaction that you're making. You're selling a home, buying a home, like it's massive, right? There are two big transactions which are involved in this particular transaction. The first point here is general housekeeping. If you are taking advice from someone who is looking out for themselves more than you, please run as much as possible, because the truth is that most realtors and mortgage agents will only make money. In fact, all mortgage agents and realtors will only make money when you buy. And if you're selling and buying, the realtor is actually making double the commission. So it is in their benefit for you to sell and buy. So it's really difficult for any realtor to just say no to commission. And forget about any realtor. I get accused of this in the comments. First mistake, I'm not a realtor. I'm a mortgage agent. So if you sell a home, I don't make anything. But I still chose to make this video. Second of all, I want to build a long-term business, and any good realtor who wants to build a long-term business, they know that if they make a wrong advice and you lose money, you are never going to come back to that agent. And an average client turns 3 times, if not 4 times, in their lifetime. So if you have a 20-year career as a real estate agent or a mortgage agent, an average client will turn 3 to 4 times. All of these clients that thrived because of your advice every single time will then refer out 3 or 4 more people who will again buy 3 to 4 times. So that's the compounding effect that people have when you give good advice has on a business. And I don't know about any of the realtors that you're working with, but I am a good business person, and I understand the simple logic that our business depends on referrals. And therefore, when you reach out to me, and if you are watching this, and if you have talked to me or my team and we said no, you should not buy a home right now, I would encourage you to write that in the comments so that people can see that that's the advice that good agents give. That was housekeeping. Then comes the real stuff, where you need a master negotiator on your side who can do really good negotiations on your sale. So for instance, in my case, when I sold my townhouse, I at least made $25,000 to $30,000 more on the sale because my agent was negotiating on my, obviously I was involved, and I am a very nosy person and I know a little bit about this industry. So, I wanted to get involved as well, but we made about $25,000 to $30,000 more on the sale. And at the same time, when we bought a home, we bought it $100,000 lower than the comparables. We made almost $125,000 on both ends, and I see people cheap out on $8,000 of cashback. And the reason we are able to buy the home for $100,000 cheaper than the market value is not a fluke. It's not written on MLS. It was because our agent found out that this home is under, like a divorce conflict. And because they are getting divorced, They want to get it off their hands. They have to sell the home. It's under almost distress, and that's the reason why they were willing to sell at a cheaper price. All this comes from discovery, negotiation, and skill. That's what a good team will bring to your table. So to summarize, should you upgrade a home right now? Ask yourself first, is this a need or a temptation? Then run the math. Can you afford this upgrade comfortably? And finally, remember that the biggest difference in this market is not the timing, it's strategy. It's how you and your team execute this transaction. That's all I have for today. मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय.